Hey, beautiful moms. So, I feel like I'm gonna be repeating myself because I literally just recorded myself like 5 minutes of me talking about fear of change. And then I realized that I was actually recording on time lapse. So, let's hope this one I can say what I need to say and the message that I need to give you the best way that I can. So if you're wondering why the mess, is because I was actually deep cleaning. I was decluttering my office slash hobby room slash homeschool room. Because we're about to start the new year for homeschool, so I go through this every single year of decluttering this area and getting rid of curriculums and all that stuff and reorganizing and all that stuff. But anyways, this video is not about that. This video is about fear of change. And also, I hope you can hear me. I couldn't find my speaker microphone thing, and I'm like, you know what? I feel like this message is so important, and I'm just going to record and share with you guys the message that I got through a meditation as I was decluttering. The way it came about is because I started remembering that my oldest is with his dad. It's from a different relationship, and I'm having some trouble with him coming back home to me. And don't want to get emotional. And I'm not gonna go into that circumstance, but I'm having some trouble with fear of change, fear of possibly not having my 12-year-old son coming back to me for the school year. And I had to sit down, do a 5-minute mindfulness practice, and after that I felt guided to connect with my higher self, angels, however you want to do it. And I received this message that I felt like this message was not just for me, it's for you as well. And so let's get to it. I'm gonna move from rooms because I feel like this is too bright and stuff. All right, so I'm in my living room now. I hope this is a little better. At least it's not too much going on in the background. And hopefully it can calm me down a little bit. I know clutter does not help the mind, you know. Anyways, so I know fear of change can feel differently for everybody. For me, it feels like, and possibly even for you, if specifically as moms, we know that our lives, whatever we do with our lives, it affects our children, it affects our home, it affects our significant other, it affects basically everybody around us. It can feel heavy, even changing, fear of change, even when I think of that, even changing small like routines or habits that we have can affect our children. And I say that because, you know, not having my son come back to me, it scares me so much. And I don't even know if that's the case, but I'm playing this story in my head that before I did my meditation, as I was decluttering, I was thinking like, oh my gosh, my son might not come home. And I'm imagining the worst scenario in my head. And then I was like, how is that helping me? You know? And so if you think about yourself, if you have something going on in your life, and just because you're afraid of the change doesn't mean that you should go ahead and think of all the negatives, all the possible things that could go wrong. I feel like that's something that we learn as children, at least for myself. I used to tell myself that it's better to imagine the worst, or to think that the worst is gonna happen, so that I don't get disappointed. Does that make sense? And I feel like I'm not the only one, because my husband says that, or my fiance says that he's very much like that too. We've been changing that mindset, and it's been coming across. Like, I was able to stop myself a few minutes ago by, I imagined everything that could go wrong with my son not coming home, and then I was like, you know what, stop. I acknowledge that I'm scared, because I'm scared of the change that's about to happen in our lives if he doesn't come home. But I'm also like hurting myself by putting all these scenarios in my head, negative scenarios in my head. Like, how is that helping me? It's not. And so I encourage you to, if you are also one of those persons, one of those moms that like or think that helps you so that you don't get disappointed, I encourage you to acknowledge what you're thinking, and then pause, and then say, I know that's what I'm feeling, I know that's what I'm thinking, but that doesn't mean it's true. And when you say that, at least for myself, when I say that to myself, it stops it. It stops the pattern, I guess you could say, the negative pattern. And it's so rewarding after a long time of doing this, of course. But like in the beginning, when you start catching yourself, once you catch yourself once, then the second time will be easier, the third time, the fourth time, and so on. But anyways, so that being said, like, if you really think about it, just having a fear of change doesn't mean that when we have fear, doesn't mean that something negative is going to happen. No, it possibly means that something good is going to happen from that change. Does that make sense to you? I hope it does, because that's what I got from my higher self. Well, yeah, I guess my higher self. Let's put it that way. And it was so, what's the word that I want to use? Relief? Possibly relief. I think relief is the closest word that I can think of. I felt so relieved to think that this change might also actually be good. Whether it's him coming home to us and having to change our routines so that he can see his dad more often, so that he can stay with us for the school year or whatever it is, or possibly for him to stay with his dad, even though it scares the heck out of me for him to, I think it scares me more for him, possibly even me. I don't know how I'm gonna manage to do that, but maybe that's what his soul needs. My son, I'm talking about my son. And so I don't like it, but who am I to determine what his soul needs? And so anyways, now I'm going into other stuff. Sorry. Sometimes we resist change because we feel like we're not ready. But staying the same keeps us in a pattern that no longer feels good anymore. So I've realized that the longer we hold on to what's safe, in my head at least, the more restless and uncomfortable and negative I start to feel. Does that happen to you? Because it happens to me very, very often. Like when I notice that it's just something that I do not want to change for the life of God, if that's how you say it, it's very, very hard for me to let go, to change. But when I finally do, I was like, oh my gosh, why was I hanging on to this pattern? If I'm thinking about like drinking, for example, that's the first thing that came to mind. I haven't actually drank every weekend how I used to drink. I've drank like 2 times in between there, but even when I did drink, it was like, yeah, not for me. And I haven't drank since then. Actually, that was in April because it was in California when I went to visit my sisters and my mom. So anyways, I haven't drank since then. And so that changed for me, that alcohol that I did not want to let go of. It was so hard. It took me almost a year for me to finally say, that's it, I'm not doing it anymore. And when I did, literally within 3 months, 4 months that have passed, I was like, oh my gosh, I was so scared of letting go of alcohol that I was missing out on the feeling of not drinking and being mindful and being present the whole time that I'm with my kids. And just so you know, it wasn't that I was an alcoholic in the way that I would drink to get drunk every single day. No, it wasn't even like that. It was like the weekend came, usually Fridays, and we would work outside and I wanted a drink or two. And it takes a lot for me to get drunk. So I almost never got drunk. And so, or even tipsy, it would give me like a little head change, but it was more of like feeling sadness for like days, and I didn't even know I was doing that to myself. Not sadness, depressed. And anyways, let's go back to the fear of change. So I was missing out. And so for you, think about it. What is something, I mean, if you're watching this video, it's probably because right now you're going through a life event, and I'm sorry that you are, but I'm so glad that you're here as well. That think about it. Whatever it is that got you to this video, that you are so scared to change, think of all the positive, not the negatives. Make a list, like of 5, 10 things, 20 things of all the good things that you can get from this change. Okay? I encourage you to do that. I've been doing that more and more lately. Sometimes I'm not at the point where I sit down and write anymore. I just catch myself, meditate, and then the answers come to me. I'm at that point of my life right now, which I'm so happy. But if you're just beginning to connect with yourself, if you're just beginning your mindfulness practices, I encourage you to start with journaling. And yes, and so, okay. So when you're writing this down, journaling, think of all the things that this change can help you grow, because that's the truth in fear of change. A lot of the times, the fear of change is because your body, your soul, God is telling you that is the way to go. And if that is the way to go, it's because something positive is going to come out of it. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Let me know in the comments if you feel like it's not making sense, please. Or if you feel like it is. If we think about it as moms, and this is something that I realized with my kids. When I start going back to like feeling restlessness and all that stuff, because I'm so, like, let's say I'm not changing because I have fear of change. And then I start feeling restlessness, disconnected, depressed, and all this stuff. My energy starts getting really, really low. And you know how I know now? Before I used to not notice it, but now I notice it because my children can feel and go with the flow of my energy. So if I'm feeling depressed, disconnected, not present, guess what my kids start doing? They start fighting more. They start yelling at each other. They start, not acting like they more needy. It's not acting. I call it acting because in my head I'm like, kids, it's like, but actually it's because they are consuming my energy. And so they don't feel well. They don't know why they don't feel well. They don't know that it's my energy transferring to them, but it really is. And so if our kids start feeling like that, and they're watching us, because if we really think about it, they are our little mirrors. That's a lot of R's in that sentence. if they see us that we're frozen in fear and we are avoiding to do whatever it is that we know that we are supposed to do, because they see everything. Sometimes we think like, oh, our kids are not watching or our kids are not paying attention, but they pay attention and they are watching us very, very, very closely. Guess what they're gonna do? They're also gonna learn to fear change. They're also gonna learn to freeze when they feel fear. They're gonna learn to avoid. They're gonna learn to not take steps towards that change or whatever it is, right? But if our kids see us take small steps, it doesn't have to be big steps. If they see us take small steps towards that change, mindful steps, I had to really think about that. I was like, wait, it has to be mindful steps. Even when we're nervous, then they learn courage from us. They learn that they can also do that they don't have to jump all in all at once, but they can take small steps at a time towards the change. Am I making sense? So now that we're done talking about how fear of change can affect us by not taking action, by allowing us to stop us, what can you do now? How can you fix it? I found that mindfulness is literally the key. Every time now, if I think about it, sorry, I'm like trying to find the right words to say this. Now, when I think about it, whenever I feel like I'm having some sort of fear, it's most likely because I have fear of change. And like I said earlier in the beginning of the video, it was because of my son not possibly coming home for the school year. Not entirely that I'm not going to see him anymore, but just for the whole school year. I was able to stop myself, quiet the fear through mindfulness. And so when I slow down, I breathe and I get present with whatever it is happening right now. So whenever I was scared and in fear, I was thinking of all the possible negative things, right? And I wasn't in the present moment. And if I really think about it, his dad said, oh, we'll go over the new plans or whatever on Monday. So why am I, today's Saturday, so I'm like, why am I like over here making all this possible scenarios when like he hasn't even said that he's gonna take me to court or anything like that? So why am I making this big deal out of it? Just come back. I'm telling myself, come back to the present moment. So when I did that, I was able to see things more clearly. I was able to remind myself and my higher self to remind myself that I don't need to have all the answers right now. I just need to take the next step. And what is the next step at the moment? I can't really do anything regarding that event, but what can I do right now? And at the moment, I was like, okay, I feel like I need to share this message with other moms, so I'm gonna start recording at 1 a.m. in the morning, because it's literally like 1 a.m. What is some questions that can help you? That has helped me get me back to the present moment, I guess you can put it that way. What is this change trying to tell me or teach me? How can I grow as a mom or woman through this? These little questions, or these two little, I feel like they're not even little, because if you really think about it, they're big questions. But what I meant is these two questions, just by answering these two questions, how many times did I say that? Like 4 times? it will shift fear from curiosity. At least it does for me, and I hope it does for you too. To show you how I'm leaning into this, aside from my son, because I will talk about it in the next video, how everything went, just so you know, just so you know a little bit about me. I really, really, really want to do a 40-day water fast with vitamins this time. Last time I didn't drink any vitamins or anything. This time I want to try it with vitamins, essential vitamins that I know that I should be taking during a water fast. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take 7 days at a time. So in my next video, I will, well, in 8 days, I will post how I did with my 7-day water fast. Which honestly, it scares me because I'm afraid of not being able to accomplish it. I'm afraid of not eating food. I know I can do it. I've done it before, but somehow I'm like so scared of doing it. But I'm also like, I feel like I need to. Like that is something that I not to lose weight, but for spiritual reasons. I feel like that's my next step to get to wherever it is that I need to get, or learn whatever it is that I need to learn. I'll be sharing how I prepare, how I am going to use mindfulness practices each day to help me get through the days. What else? I mean, I'm a stay-at-home mom of 4, so I have to cook every single day, 3 times a day. So it's going to be hard. I'm going to have to change the routine slightly, and I also babysit other kids, so I know it's not going to be easy. But I want you to see that fear is just a feeling, and it doesn't have to control us. Yeah, that's exactly how I wanted to say it. So if you take anything out of this video, take this. Fear of change is normal, but it doesn't have to hold you back. If you feel like something in your life is asking you to, calling you to shift something, just start small. You don't have to take big steps. You can take little steps. Trust me, I know. I've done the big steps before, and probably you have too, and that's why you have failed before. But a lot of the times it requires small steps, and a lot of the times that has to do with, at least for myself, I can speak for myself, is patience. I forget that I need to learn patience. So take a deep breath, do one mindful step at a time, do one mindful action today that brings you closer to that version of you that you want your children to see. Courage, loving, and growing, because you want them to love to grow. You want them to love, to learn, and to be present. Oh my gosh, if kids learn to be present these days, especially as children, it will take them a long way as adults. I truly believe that. And if they see you doing mindful practices, they will learn it. Whether you sit down with them and teach them, like, they learn by watching us. So yeah, that's the message. I obviously didn't get the message like that from my higher self, but I felt like I needed to let it out and share it with you guys, with you moms. If this message speak to you at all, even a little bit, share it in the comments. If you have something that you just wanting to let go of, write in the comments. What changes have you been afraid of? That's a good one to write in the comments. What changes have you been afraid of? You don't have to write all the answer to it. And don't forget to subscribe, because I'll be sharing mindfulness tools to let go of the fear of change. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And also, I will be sharing my 7-day water fast journey very, very soon, in 8 days to be exact for that one. All right, see you soon.